We just left the anchorage and ran out of gas. That's what happens. We're switching the tanks, but we're in the water. This 600-foot ship that passed us. And then another barge up there and one behind us. Waterfalls everywhere.
Good morning, Port Genovia. It is about 6:30 a.m. Saturday, the October 25th. Today we're taking advantage of a combination of a good weather window plus the weekend, so I don't have to work and I can just focus on helping run the boat to get to Vancouver Island. We're leaving from Cameron Cove, kind of just east of, close to the bottom of Haida Gwaii, and we think we have about a 29-hour run to Port Hardy, which is the first port on Vancouver Island. We're starting that. Might be sailing for a good part of the way. We'll have to share with you all how it goes. We shared last night. We shared the anchorage with the Atlantic. I forget the name of it. Atlantic Falcon, I think it is. It's a Coast Guard, Canadian Coast Guard contracted vessel that just sits out here waiting to be called on to tow ships that have lost their propulsion or steerage, in order to tow them away from shore to keep pollution incidents from happening. So it's a great big, super heavy duty tugboat designed to tow 600 to 1,000 foot long ships in rough conditions, and just sits here and waits to be called. So yeah, other than that guy, it's pitch black out here. So I'll show you how I'm navigating out of the anchorage. Radar on my computer screen down there, because we don't have a chart plotter in the cockpit yet. That's an upcoming project, and so on there I can see, without depending on GPS, that we're going the right way. Really easy to see through the companionway here. I'm also using Navionics on my phone as well, but at this time, situations like this, the radar really becomes the primary source of truth. Because I'll tell you, it's amazing how often GPS, even with the high-end GPS receiver and big antenna, it still does funny things, loses the signal, thinks we're not where we are, stuff like that. And it's usually in the worst time when you really need it, like these. So use radar first and kind of back it up with Navionics until at least it gets light, and then we'll switch over to visual. All right, more updates to come later. So the rest of the day was spent just motoring along in pretty calm conditions. We had a little bit of breeze on our quarter, but not nearly enough to sail at this point, so just kept the engine going. And as the sun went down, we settled into 3-hour watches. Kendra took the first one and let me get some rest, and I took over at midnight. And then, of course, as her next watch came on at 3 a.m., we were starting to get into some weather that I was hoping to outrun, but we didn't quite get ahead of it. The reason we had this nice weather window was a storm that was battering the Oregon and Washington coast quite a ways down south of us, but it was actually sucking the air down, which I was hoping was going to create enough north and northwesterly breeze for us to sail in. Right as we're getting to Cape Caution, which is a notorious body of water, we had the breeze pick up consistently to 25 knots. We saw some gusts well over 33 knots, and the boat became very overpowered. So neither of us got any more rest that evening until we got into the calm waters of the Queen Charlotte Strait and approaching Port Hardy, just watching out for the inevitable debris that you see around here, which is the main reason we try not to run at night if we don't need to. Sometimes you'll see entire logs with their whole root balls, 40, 50 feet long out there. Not something you want to run into if you can avoid it. The whole trip wound up taking 28 hours, which is quite a bit less than what I was expecting at 29, mostly just because towards the end of it we were going far faster than we normally do. Definitely happy to get into calm water and get some rest.
How long has it been since we've been on the dinghy?
I'm not even... Oh, so it's the warm springs? It's Bear Down Warm Springs that launch the dinghy. There's even a playground with kids playing.
So nice.
Out here doing drills.
Perfect.
Oh, cool. We got a smaller spout. That's
Switch
awesome.
nozzle for you.
Thank you. I'm going to
A
carry
lot
this.
easier.
Take it over to the other side and start with here. Fuel docks generally have good water that the fishing vessels and other commercial boats also use, and so whenever we have the chance, we try to top off with water and avoid using our water maker if we don't need to. Even though it doesn't take much power, there's still wear and tear, and got to replace the filters every so often. After fueling up in Port Hardy with diesel and water, we started a short trip down to Port McNeil. Along the way, we passed the Pulteney Point Lighthouse on Malcolm Island. I think it's fascinating how many of these are around Canada, complete with a whole compound of caretaker houses and other facilities.
Will that bother you if I do that? Huh?
It's kind of too late to ask that if you turn on the light in front of his face when you're doing something like this.
Sorry. I didn't know the flash was going to be on.
As we set the hook just after dark in Port McNeil, we had no idea how crazy of a night we had ahead of us. But that will be a story for next week.